Today, we're going to step into the wonderful world of our 2-year-olds. Well, all of them, the age group, has earned a reputation of being the terrible twos. But today, we're going to unpack that reputation and we're going to bring solutions by an expert. She's somebody that has spent a lot of time and she has mastered this age group. One of the best teachers of this age group that is willing to share all her wisdom and her knowledge with the audience of Raising Innovators. So let's welcome Miss Genesis Arreola. How are you doing today?
I'm so excited to start this day with the podcast. Thank you so much for having me today.
We are so honored. And let me tell you, compliment you. I've never seen just such an amazing 2-year-old teacher that can remain calm at all times in the middle of chaos. So when did this passion for this age group start?
When my daughter was born.
Really? Tell us about it.
Well, my daughter's 5 now, but as soon as she was born, I felt like I was born to be a mother, a caregiver. It's the best thing that's ever happened in my life. And I wanted to continue to pursue that dream, that passion. I'm very passionate when it comes to children. I always felt that before, but as soon as I had my daughter, the love for children grew more.
Oh, wow. But tell me, when you were a child, were you exposed to teaching or teachers or?
Actually, yes. I had a favorite teacher when I was in 2nd grade. And I remember we went to a field trip. And I used to live in Houston, so the NASA, everything there is NASA. And we went to a field trip to see NASA, and they asked us, what do you want to be when you grow up? And I said, teacher. And I was 7 years old at the time. So I felt like I always wanted to be a teacher ever since I was young.
But you have a special gift. We're talking about 2-year-olds. I mean, you could be in any other age group, but you have mastered the science and the brain of 2-year-olds. How did that happen? And how did you find that this was your calling, to be with 2-year-olds?
I kind of had to figure that out on my own. I did start as a floater, and I was working with all the different age groups in early preschool. And then when I got sent to the 2s, I was like, well, it is challenging, but I'm always up for a challenge. So I started to interact with more of that age group, and I got to see everyone's personalities. It's different. And yeah, it is a big challenge, but I think it makes it more enjoyable, something new every day.
What do you love about the 2s? Let's start there.
I really like how they start to talk more. That's when they're really learning new words. They start to learn how to use I find a lot of hands-on activities. They start to learn how to potty. Mm-hmm. And I think I really enjoy the whole process, really. And I like how when they get to see you every single day, you start to create a bond with them. And I really enjoy having that bond with that age group.
So, and how do you start developing that relationship with the parent and with the 2-year-old?
Of course. So first with the children, when they're full-time in my classroom, it just begins with them getting to know you. Some of them have different personalities. Some are shyer than others. But when they open up to you and they feel safe, they feel comfort, they feel like they can have fun with you, I think that's when they open up a little bit more. And then with the parents, I just reassure them every day. I keep them updated on the app. And sometimes they actually do ask me for advice, and I'm able to tell them, well, this happened today, and this is the way that we were able to resolve that.
Well, you become like an authority in the city of Winter Park where you work because you are not only creating that experience for the children, but you become an advocate for the age group, and you always help the parents too. I love that. So let's unpack some of those questions that parents of 2-year-old have. Okay, so they are, let's start with, how do you discipline that age group? What do you think is the best approach?
Well, to discipline, I feel like you have to understand them from their standpoint. They don't know how to express sometimes when they're sad, when they're angry. They're learning. They feel frustrated, and I'm very empathetic towards that. I try to put myself in their position and I see, okay, if I don't know how to express myself, they need guidance. Just talk to them. In their eye level, talk to them. A lot of the times they just need a hug. And
Yeah.
and that really helps them soothe. It helps them just feel better.
Well, they're very well known 2 years old for because they have like tantrums and they cannot regulate their emotions. But how do you start building that emotional regulation with 2 year olds?
Well, a lot of them need a lot of guidance with self-regulating. It does start with having a routine. Once they get to know that routine, I feel like they know what's coming next. And that's actually like a safe net for them. It's a security for them. So I feel like once they have a set routine in the classroom, they'll have that security. They'll know what's coming next. Nothing will be a surprise to them. And I think that helps a lot.
Do you start discussing the emotions, what emotions are with them in this age groups?
Yes, and we actually talk about that every single day with the character trait that we're learning every week, every month. And that really helps them a lot. And they are able to vocalize and communicate with me how they're feeling. I always try to remind the children to use their words because sometimes they just cry out. And I'm like, can you use your words? And then they explain to me how they feel and what happened.
Oh, wow. That early, they're starting to become aware. And what type of, like, if a parent of a 2 year old is constantly throwing a tantrum or something like that, how do you, like, talk to the parent about techniques that are working with that child that could be extended to the home environment?
A lot of the children have different needs and different personalities. So you have to start in the root cause. What is causing the tantrum?
Mm.
Is it because they wanted something from their sibling or they wanted more screen time? So they can start there. And if they see a pattern of how they react, try to calm them down. They're egocentric at that age. So everything that's around them, it's all about them. If you don't meet that need first, it's not going to get better. I think it's going to get more elevated. So start there. See what's causing the tantrum. Have like a safe place for them and talk to them in their eye level. And sometimes when you reassure them in that moment, whatever the cause may be, I think that helps a lot, especially in my classroom. That's what I do.
That's incredible. And in extreme cases where they cannot communicate and they start biting and each other, I've seen you masterfully like solve a lot of these issues. So what would be your recommendation for parents that are facing that?
A lot of parents with their children, we don't all know what goes at home. But in my classroom, the way that I'm able to resolve that issue is I see what's causing it, what's triggering the child to react that way. I calmly talk to the child in their eye level and I tell them friends are not food. Often they do that it's just a reaction, right? But they have to you have to talk to them on their eye level and calmly, in a calm voice, kind of separate them from the situation and just have a conversation with them.
Okay, but let's be real. How do you stay calm in the middle of a chaos? Okay, because I've seen you in the middle of very difficult situations and how I don't know if that has to do with your parents, how they raised you, or I don't know what your secret is, but we want to hear.
I feel like it did take me a long time to get to that point where I have to stay calm. I feel like the energy that I give out, the children feel that energy. If I'm having a bad day, I'm not going to bring it into the classroom because then everybody else will feel that energy and they're going to have a bad day too. So I really try to keep calm when everything else around me is not calm. I feel like they'll feel that energy and want to react the same way.
And I love it. But what techniques do you use, like, to stay that calm? And that's a great advice for parents when they're about to lose, like, their temper or their child is doing something they don't want. That's a life skill. What do you think is your secret to remaining in control and self-regulated?
Breathing techniques help me a lot.
Yeah.
I also try to analyze the situation before I react. Think about the consequences of your actions. Try to think about what will happen if you yell or scream. That I feel like it's better for you to just have a calm demeanor, especially when you're around kids. So breathing techniques help me a lot.
That's very, very helpful. Okay,
Mm.
so let's go back to how do you start encouraging independence with the twos? I see them doing a lot of skills, independence in your classroom. What do you think are best practices that parents can take home?
I think guiding them and having a set routine for them helps tremendously. I know that when it's, for example, for self-independence in the classroom for potty training, for example, we guide them. Okay, this is how you undress. This is what you have to do next to sit on the potty. And they like to be independent at that age. They enjoy doing things on their own. Sometimes we want to help them and they're like, no, I can do it.
Yeah.
So I feel like if they're ready, they show signs. If they're ready, motivate them to continue that.
Well, so
Mhm.
let's go back to potty training because that's
Right.
one of the biggest issues or question marks for parents of 2-year-olds. When is a child ready to start potty training?
There's several signs that children show when they're ready to start potty training. I feel like one of them is when they tell you verbally, they tell you, mommy, I went number 2. And that's one of the signs when they start to communicate to you that they don't feel comfortable being in the diaper. And it's all about just communication with the kids. When they tell you that, that's one of the signs. I feel like another sign would probably be when they show a little bit more independence, like what we were just talking about, when they're able to do things on their own and just have a set routine for them.
Wow. So and for parents that are nervous about the kids not meeting the time or the tracking, are all children different? Do all of them does that happen at the same time, or what would you say?
I think every child is different, and that's okay. There's no rush. There's no late time for them to do it. But as long as they have that guidance and that set routine, I think they'll get there when they're ready, and that's okay. Mm-hmm.
I love how you frame that. So, how also tell us a little bit about some of the other questions that your parents ask you that are important to bring to other parents in the community.
Well, some of the things that they've asked me, well, as a teacher, you mean, or?
Yeah.
Well, they know me, from a different perspective, but they do see me sometimes. I get home and, it takes a lot of energy to be with children. And it just I just told my dad, I love what I do. I'm very passionate about being with children, teaching them. And that's literally what makes me be better and motivate me to keep going with children.
Well, thank you for that
Mhm.
example because it being with children is a privilege too, and is a passion that should be encouraged. And that we're born, I think, with that mission inside of us of wanting to care for others, and not only care, but you are an amazing teacher. Let's go over some of the things that 2-year-olds are ready to learn. So I see a lot of learning activities happen in your classroom. So tell me, what are suitable for a 2-year-old?
A lot of hands-on activities, that's for sure. A lot of sensory, STEAM, science activities, gross motor activities, and music, which they love. My favorite part of the day is having their music and movement lesson for the day to start our morning after circle time.
Well, you are a professional musician too, so that's kind of like your favorite topic too. What are the benefits? How do you see when the kids start dancing on your floor, or we have the infant whisperer from the room across, Miss Leslie, come over? What are the benefits of that movement and that music?
Well, as soon as you start
Period.
playing music, it's they our brain releases the dopamine effect, which is like us feeling happy. It's the same when we eat. So as soon as they hear their favorite song, for example, they love Baby Shark, they love the wheels on the bus, that helps them feel happy. And then we just start a comfortable environment in the classroom, and then they love that helps with cognitive development, as well as their gross motor skills, as well as memorization. And it's just really fun. It's a fun environment to be around. They use instruments, we use scarves. We do a lot of different things to make it fun.
I love children are not ready to learn until they first have their needs met and they're emotionally ready to start that journey. And I see a lot of learning happening in your classroom. I see language, I see math happening. But everything is hands-on. What is that? Why is so important to have that approach with this age group?
I feel like they need that to help strengthen their fine motor skills. Whenever we do, for example, math, we do a lot of things where they have to feel something and place something. So just this week, we were doing shape sorting, where the children use their hands to match the shape. So they said the name of the shape and they were able to place it on the exact same shape. So this helps with their memory, with their and also their fine motor skills. We use scissors, pencils, and all of that. It makes it fun for them because it's something new that they haven't done before. And it's so much fun seeing them learn.
And one
Mhm.
thing I love about your classroom is it's child led. You let them explore things and you're not afraid to like go off topic for a little bit
Mhm.
or of theme. If they find something they like, how do you keep track of all their different interests?
I feel like I'm really good at seeing the differences in every child, their needs, their personalities. And since I've been with them for almost half a year already, I feel like they're my family. So I don't know, I feel comfortable with them. I know how to adapt to their learning activities. And it's just something that I feel like I'm really good at. I feel like I'm able to help them grow and help them in a way that can benefit them.
That is absolutely amazing.
Mhm.
So at that age, we're supporting physical development, cognitive, so and social and emotional. So
Right.
exercises, like for example, physical things that they do at that age that I see you doing a lot, like obstacle courses, dancing that you mentioned, for cognitive and teaching them math. What type of things do you do?
Well, I do a lot of different things. It depends on the theme of the week and the month, but we do a lot of different things. They really love having hands-on activities, anything to do with math. We do different shapes and we do different numbers. So if, for example, we're doing math, we will cut out different shapes of, let's say, a square. And then we cut out a smaller shape and we'll either paint it or we do something of the same color. That way they're able to get that copy of the shape and put it in a little monster that we
Yeah.
do, and they put that inside with the correct shape.
Yeah.
So that helps a lot with memorization of colors, shapes, and numbers.
And parents can extend all this to their homes and incorporate this into their daily activities. Uh, Cooking with with their child is a great experience. Maybe things that are safe, like cutting with maybe like child knives and things like that. Looking, sorting, scavenger hunts, and things like that. They can extend that at home and make it fun. What about social emotional? Can they make friends at that age? Can they bond?
Yes, especially since they're starting to talk more. They love having their own little groups, and especially when we do independent play, they go to different centers. And then when their 10 minutes are up, they like to go to the next center with their same friends.
When they're same
Yes,
friends.
so they definitely do. Actually have a set of twins in my
Oh,
classroom, and they learn so much from each other, and I just love to see their bond. And yeah, but they do start to form a lot of bonds at
oh,
that
that's
age.
beautiful.
Yes.
And I see and supporting language development. It's reading books, encouraging adding vocabulary, naming objects. I see you do a lot, and that's amazing. So, thank you so much, Miss Genesis, for what you do every day. You are an example to a lot of teachers in the country in a time where a lot of people don't want to come into this industry, but this is beautiful because the benefits are beyond what we can expect. I feel like we have to attract a new generation of caregivers and teachers. This career is beautiful. It has so much to offer. And we thank you for being such a like great example of being a loving, caring, and making a difference every day in a child's life. I bet your father and your parents are very proud of you. So, if you like this episode and you learn a lot about tools, we Miss Genesis share a lot of wisdom and inside information of the 2 year old. And if you like this, please share it, comment on this, ask questions because we have a lot of experts in the Young Innovators teams willing and on a mission to prepare and help parents prepare and raise the next generation of innovators. So don't forget to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel and spread the word that we are on a mission. Join us on a mission to inspire the next generation of innovators. See you in the next episode. Thanks for watching.